Good morning, good people. It is officially December 1st, 2025. What's this? Okay, December 1st, 2025. Wow. The year is almost over. Well, here we are at Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and interested people on their journey through this life. And we need all the help we can get. How do we help? Well, we take we have a daily podcast. And in that daily podcast, we learn about practical tools, practical skills, and repetition. So we want to build better habits. Unconscious behavior is the key to upward mobility. Have good habits. How do you build better habits? That's the goal. Building better habits. That's it. Okay, and cut. No, just kidding. There's a lot more to it than that. So our program is there's 4 parts to it. 4-part transformational program, or 4 aspects. 1 is the physical, 2, mental, 3, emotional, 4 is spiritual. So during the week, we focus on the first 3, physical, mental, and emotional. You want to be the best you can be. You have to be good physically. You have to be fitness and health. You have to be physically fit, and you have to be healthy. 2, mentally, always be learning. How do you take care to always be learning? 3, to control your emotions. What we say, you can't control your emotions. Don't worry, somebody else will, and they'll probably take you out of the game. You have to be able to control your emotions. Essential, vital, etc. And then number 4, spiritual. We do that on weekends. How do we do it? Well, we have our 4-week, 28-day neuroscience-oriented program. So this is the State Pen Workbook, which we've been doing since I think the first one was published in 2018. And hundreds of people in prison have used this neuroscience approach to success. It's a 7-day-a-week, 4-hour-per-day approach. And if you're in prison, guess what you have? Plenty of time. You can spend 4 hours. It's like, give me more. I'll do it twice because it's so boring in here. So we do that, and then we have our worksheet. The worksheet you can find down below on our websites, Facebook, YouTube, not Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. So our worksheet, which is updated every day. And if I look at the worksheet today, for 12.1, the theme of today is executive presence, the importance of executive presence. Right. What's that? Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Advice from an 80-year-old, have a firm handshake. So that's another practical thing in life. Have a firm handshake. Next is what? Let's see, what else? Oh, Seth Godin. Let's look at Seth Godin. Seth Godin today. Rehearsing emotional state. If you walk into the Parthenon or paddle at dawn and on Joe Lake, it's easy to feel a sense of wonder. And waiting in a long line for an important flight can trigger frustration. But much of the time, our state is automatic, right? Unconscious. What's your default? Satisfied, bitter, anxious, sad, curious, grateful, energized, disappointed, exhausted, eager, bored, hopeful, frustrated, overwhelmed, inspired, or nostalgic. If we can trigger one for 6 minutes, perhaps we can do it for an hour. We're more likely to perform what we rehearse. Okay, what's your emotional state? So Seth Godin is saying, what's your default? If you were phenomenologically stepped out of yourself and you looked at yourself, how you were, what's your thing? Are you a satisfied person, bitter, anxious, sad, curious, grateful, energized, disappointed, exhausted, eager, bored, hopeful, frustrated, overwhelmed, inspired, or nostalgic? If you are one of those, and we can trigger something for 6 minutes, perhaps we can do it for an hour. So get into the emotional state that is most effective for you. Right. Okay, cool. Let's see. How are we doing for time? Oh, wow. Good. Doing great for time. All right. So today's TED Talk is Dr. Daniel Amen. Dr. Amen is a psychiatrist, businessman who does brain scans. And the basic idea is if you don't look, how do you know? You have to look at the physical brain, not just talk therapy, but you have to look at the physical brain. So he's built a practice. And I think last week I heard that he had over 250,000 brain scans now. This one was about 80,000 brain scans, something like that. And it's fairly old. It's at least 10 years old. So Dr. Amen's premise is if you look at the brain, how it's doing, how it's functioning, how it's working, you can better treat it. So he uses PET scans, not fMRI. Uses PET scans, and they, they evaluate, they can sense activity. Oh, and you're supposed to be a certain amount of brain activity, right? So good, bad, high, low. And then once he does that, then they figure out how a brain smart program of how to improve it. Okay, pretty basic, but it's based upon what they can see, brain scans. Now, Dr. Amen says, if you damage your brain, your physical brain, if the physical brain is damaged, there will be consequences. So we need to look at the brain to see how it's damaged. And it's things like, so he says there's 5 principal ways to damage your brain, which he describes as the consistency of soft butter inside of a hard skull with bony ridges. Okay, so number 1, traumatic brain injury. You physically damage your brain. So it's made up of 86 billion neurons with 10,000 connections, an average of 10,000 connections on each. So you've got a lot of stuff going on. 86 billion neurons in there. Yeah, there's a lot of them. They're very small and they're not really robust. Okay, so 86 billion neurons. Traumatic brain injury. Alcohol damages the brain. Drugs damage the brain. Some kind of a disease. Alzheimer's, Sometimes Hodgkin's, Atkins, whatever. You have brain disease, and then something growing on the brain. If you have those things happen, if you have a cyst growing on your brain, so as it's growing, the skull isn't going to let it grow out, so it's going to push inward on the brain, damaging, destroying neurons. So his thing is no amount of talk therapy is going to solve that problem. You have to remove the cyst or remove the tumor. Okay? Alcohol, drugs, same thing. Well, same thing in that they destroy your brain, they damage your brain. So Dr. Amen has what he creates is called a brain smart program. Once they figure out what's wrong, then they want to improve your brain. Why do we watch this video? Why is this video day 1, week 1? This is the very first video we watch because we want to get this is a neuroscience approach. So what do we need to know? We need to know a little bit about the brain. And for our students, brain damage is a reality. Many of our people have had a traumatic brain injury. Almost all of our people, alcohol and drugs. We don't really find people that, well, we don't know, but we don't seem to have people who have a lot of things growing on their brain or brain disease. Just mainly the first 3, traumatic brain injury, alcohol, drugs. So the starting point would be, if you have a history of alcohol, drugs, brain injury, you've probably damaged your brain. That's the bad news. That's the reality of life. That's the inescapable fact. What are we going to do about it? Well, the brain is plastic, meaning it can change. It can be like plastic, and you can do things with it. So with a brain smart program, you can repair to an extent your brain. You can improve your brain. This program is a brain smart program, different from Dr. Amen's because it's geared towards success in life, where his brain smart program might be remembering the past. You know, who are my friends? Where do I live? Stuff like that. This is about forward motion. Okay, so the idea is the better our brain works, the better we can work. Alrighty, let's move on to our themo-memo. Theme of today, executive presence. So this is down below in the worksheet, Darren Hardy, red letter. This talk is called How to Own the Room Without Saying a Word. It's called what? It's called executive presence. That's what it's called. How do you do it? It's how you show up. That's the simple answer. It's how you show up, how you enter the room. If you look like a player, people will treat you like a player. If you look like a bum, people will presume you're a bum. And he says it's like in the first 10 milliseconds. Our program says the first 5 seconds. First 5 seconds, you make a tremendous amount of impressions. He's saying it's way less than that. People are sizing you up how you are. Now, last week, he talked about the different personas we can put on. So, what's her name from Beyonce has an alter ego that she engages before she goes on stage. Don't remember the name. Darren Hardy has one, and his trigger word is showtime. In the movie For Love of the Game, the Kevin Costner movie, he would say engage the machine or engage the mechanism, and then he'd block everything out. Executive presence is how you show up in the room. And Darren Hardy says before he goes in, he gets himself ready, and he says it's showtime, and now he is there to be the center of attraction, the magnet, the energy magnet, etc. Because that's what people are there for. Now, so we're running on this parallel thing. Executive presence, how you show up. And this becomes important even for job interviews or anything. It's just how do people perceive you? And you want to own that. I made an observation in church trying to finish the book. This is a book. What did Jesus actually say? So I'm trying to finish the book. A lot of editing going on, a lot of formatting, a lot of, oh, what about this? We forgot about that. This is controversial. People are going to say it's heresy. How can we tie it, ground it on something, anchor it on something that's not heresy? Ah, found it. Good. Let's add that in. Oh, man, we got to change all. Okay, anyway, a lot of stuff. I'm in one of the churches yesterday, and they're singing to the blood of the Lamb. They're worshiping the blood. Now, in any other context, that would be these people are cuckooville. These people are not good at all. Not bueno. Okay. And then it dawned on me after 2 years in graduate school for pastoral ministry that these people don't know. They don't know history. They don't know who Jesus was. They don't know things. They know Bible passages. They know the Bible passages that have been foisted upon them, the ones their shepherd feels are important. So they have a view. They're looking through the shepherd's lens. They have a view, but they don't know. They're happy to sing the songs because those are the songs we sing. But they just don't know. And that's okay if you have a good shepherd. For me, going to church, having people go to church is enough. It's a start. But I see that the failings are if people don't know, they're going to go to church because they're going to feel good, and then they're going to leave, and they're going to become who they were. They're not doing what the Bible, what Jesus actually said. These are people who can't articulate why, if Jesus is God, and that's proven through the resurrection, if Jesus is God, why do we need anything other than the Gospels? They can't articulate why. They'll give a reason, but if you pull at the reason, you tug at the reason, you push the reason, it doesn't push back. You typically might get something like, or not typically, almost always it'll come to, I don't know and I don't care. This is what I believe. I don't know what I believe. I don't know why I believe this. I don't care what the truth is. I'm happy in my state. I'm part of a tribe. This is what we believe. You're obviously not part of the tribe. So on the one hand, at least they're in church. It could be a lot worse. They could be playing slot machines. They could be just dead-eyed, pushing the button, hoping for a win, getting some emotions, some sensations by pushing buttons and looking at the screen as opposed to interacting with other people. At least when you're in church singing songs about the blood, we're washed in the blood, you're participating with other people. But the key is they don't know. When I say the key, what do I mean by that? The interesting thing is they just don't know. And if they did know, they would behave differently. So Okay, we're going to call it at that. And hasta la vista until tomorrow.